So what do you think the connection might be between a waffle iron and a sneaker? Right? I'm going to tell you in a minute, all right? I spent the last 47 years of my life helping people solve really complex problems, like inventing products to save people's lives, helping companies out-innovate their competition, and getting people that don't particularly like each other work together to solve problems effectively. And I do this with a process called creative problem solving. Here's how it works. First, you figure out what the real problem is. You clarify the problem. Once you know what the problem is, you generate some ideas for solving that problem, and then you select those ideas, you make them better, and you build a plan for action. I call it a life-giving process because it helps people to see possibilities that they never could have imagined. It has 75 years of research behind it, and it works on just about any problem that you can imagine. Now, I have a confession to make. With all that experience, I still get stuck generating ideas sometimes. Me, the creativity guy, right? So how do you get unstuck when you need to generate some new ideas? Well, I'm going to give you my go-to technique to get unstuck when you need to generate some new ideas. But first, let's take a look at that connection between a waffle iron and sneakers. One summer Sunday morning in 1971, Bill and Barbara Bowerman were fixing waffles for breakfast. Bill, the head running coach at the University of Oregon, was bemoaning the fact that his runners didn't have track shoes that could grip the new artificial turf. Having coached 33 Olympians, he was always on the lookout for better athletic gear. In the 1960s, he had co-launched a company to import lightweight running shoes from Japan. He even had a lab in his house where he could experiment. Now he was looking for a lighter, faster shoe, one without spikes that could still grip the new running track. At that moment, Barbara pulled a waffle off the hot waffle iron. Staring at the waffle, Bill suddenly made a connection. The grid pattern on the waffle might just create the perfect grip for the sole of a running shoe. He grabbed the waffle iron and ran to his lab. By the end of the day, he had prototyped a shoe that would earn him his first patent and launch his company to international fame, the Nike Waffle Trainer. Well, thank you. So what happened here? Well, Bill was stuck, but his mind was wide open. And when his breakfast landed on his plate, he looked beyond his stomach and he saw sneakers. You see, most breakthroughs happen by connecting things that are not usually considered connected. When Bill Bowerman had his waffle breakthrough, he'd been working on the problem for months. Now, what if we could speed up the creative process? What if we could make this process deliberate? And here's a scary thought. What if Barbara had been making pancakes? The Nike pancake trainer? I don't think so, right? Let me give you another example. In the late 1950s, an engineer named Wilson Greatbatch was trying to invent an electronic device to solve the problem of bradycardia. That's slow heart rate. Driving home one night after a long day of experiments at Millard Fillmore Hospital in Buffalo, New York, he finds himself stopped in traffic because of construction. And as he's sitting in his car, he's noticing the intermittent flashing of a hazard flasher. It flashes on and off and on and off and on and off. At that moment, he made the connection between the hazard flasher and the problem of stimulating the heart. The invention, the pacemaker. Yes, the pacemaker was inspired by a traffic flasher. You see, Bill Bowerman and Wilson Greatbatch were stuck, but their minds were opened. And when they noticed the waffle iron, and when they noticed the flasher, they made a connection as if by chance. So how can we do this deliberately? How can we turn on our creativity at will instead of leaving it to chance? Well, I'm going to give you my go-to creativity method to get unstuck when you need to generate some new ideas. That's called forced connections. Here's how it works. Consider the problem that you're trying to solve. Then pick an object or a situation that's totally unrelated, and then find or force a connection between the problem you're trying to solve and that totally unrelated object or situation. The result of that is a new idea. And here's the thing, this works on any problem and anyone can do it because making connections is the essence of creativity. Making connections is the essence of creativity. Okay, so we've talked about how you can do this individually. So how do you do this with a group? So I'd like you to imagine a bathtub. I'd like you to imagine a beautiful bathtub. You got that? Okay. Now I'd like you to imagine that you work for the Acme Bathtub Company. And your boss is giving you the problem of improving Acme bathtubs. So your creative question might be, how might we improve our bathtubs? So you get a group of people together and you start to generate some ideas. After about the first 10 to 12 ideas, the group slows down, they're stuck. Well, it's time to introduce forced connections. Now, pictures work great for forced connections, so you get a picture of a bunch of bananas, right? But let's just go beyond the picture. What does a banana feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Now, what ideas might you get for improving a bathtub from a bunch of bananas? Well, you might make it non-slip, make it yellow, put a soft bottom in the tub, shape the tub to fit your body, and have a bunch of your friends over. Bunch of bananas, bunch of friends. Thank you. Let's try this one, a beautiful beach, all right? Imagine yourself sitting on that beautiful beach. Smell the air, listen to the waves. What ideas might you get for improving a bathtub from a beautiful beach? We might come up with ideas like put salt water in the tub, put lots of windows around the tub, an outdoor tub, a tub for two, all right? One more to complete the exercise. Let's go to the world of machinery. And I'd like you to imagine an airplane cockpit. I'd like you to imagine yourself sitting in that airplane cockpit. Touch the controls. Look out the window. Feel yourself flying. What ideas might you get for improving an airplane from a bathtub from an airplane cockpit? Well, you might come up with ideas, well, like put lots of controls in the tub. You control the temperature. Put windows in the tub. Put seats in the tub. And make the tub fly. I'm in my flying tub now. Here we go. All right? That's forced connections. All right, let's see. We've talked about let's see, airplanes, and we've talked about pacemakers, and we've talked about waffle irons. Let's talk about trains. In 1964, the Shinkansen bullet train came onto the scene in Japan. It came in with a bang, actually more like a sonic boom. You see, the trains traveled at speeds of about 170 miles per hour, and as the train passed through a tunnel, air pressure would build up in front of the train. As the train exited the tunnel, the air pressure would expand, creating a sonic boom. Boom! Here comes the train. Not a good thing for the neighborhood, right? Enter E.J. Nakatsu, an engineer, the head of the technical design division for the train company, and a bird watcher. Nakatsu recalled how a kingfisher dives into water to catch fish. The unique shape of the kingfisher's beak allows it to dive into that water while barely making a splash. Idea? Design the front of the train to resemble a kingfisher's beak. Breakthrough. When the redesigned train came out of the station in 1997, it was 10% faster, used 15% less electricity, and no more sonic boom. Inspiration from a kingfisher's beak. People often ask me, how many ideas do I have to come up with to get a good one? Do I have to come up with hundreds and hundreds of ideas to get a breakthrough? And the answer to that question is it really depends on the kinds of ideas that you're looking for. Now, it's not uncommon when we do new product or new strategy sessions to come up with 200 or 300 ideas. But most of the time, you don't need that many ideas. And that's why we've found it helpful to set an idea quota or an idea goal. Now, when you set the idea quota about 40 ideas and had a well-defined problem statement, and then when we analyzed the ideas that were generated, here's what we found. About the first 8 to 10 ideas were the usual ideas. These are the ideas that people thought of before. From idea 10 to 24 or 25, the more unusual ideas began to surface. People loosened up a little bit. They had a lot more fun with the challenge. Now, those unusual ideas were important because they helped to form the more sophisticated and unusual connections that occurred later on in the process. Incidentally, if you hit your idea quota and you're really moving, let yourself go. You'll be real pleased with the ideas you get after that quota. But the key learning from this data is this. If you're sitting around and generating 10 or 12 ideas and you think you're getting real creative, you're not. All you're doing is getting those ideas out that are already rumbling around in people's heads. The creativity comes in the stretch. The innovation comes in the stretch. This isn't new. This is how we create ideas. And if you look around you, everything that was human-made has a connection somewhere in its ancestry. And we're all connections, and we're all connected. So the next time you get stuck generating ideas, get away from your desk, look outside the window, go outside, take a walk, try making some connections, and see what new ideas you can create. Oh, and by the way, bathtubs really can fly. Thank you. Thank you.